Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Thomas. I lead content marketing here at RevealBot, and I am thrilled to be your host for today. I'm actually even more thrilled about today's topic, and that wouldn't be possible without our guest speaker, Shabazz with Venture Beyond. So today we will be discussing the latest advancements in AI technology, specifically how ChatGPT can change the way we approach creative strategy in paid social advertising. Now, the advertising industry is rapidly changing, and as the saying goes, it's important to stay ahead of the curve. And I think that's why we're here today to discuss how ChatGPT can help us achieve this. So whether you're an agency, advertiser, marketer, or simply interested in ChatGPT, this webinar should provide a lot of valuable insights and ideas. So I know a lot of you folks on here today are probably purely here for this topic and probably have never heard of RevealBot or Venture Beyond. So before we dive in, I want to do a quick intro and just some housekeeping, and then we can get on our way. I don't want to spend too much time giving a RevealBot spiel because that's not why we're here today, but I want to give some context and paint a picture so we can all get an idea and an understanding of why we're talking about this specific topic. So at a 10,000-foot view, RevealBot is a platform for marketers to automate their ad campaigns across multiple platforms. This includes Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, TikTok, and Snap. So we aim to simplify the advertising process, allowing marketers to focus on strategy and creative while our platform handles the manual and repetitive tasks that you don't want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So essentially, RevealBot is designed to help advertisers scale and drive efficiency. Venture Beyond has been using RevealBot for, I would say over 3 or 4 years now. And it's been awesome to watch them not only drive success for their clients, but it's been awesome watching them grow as an agency and as a company as well. So with that said, I'll hand it over to Shabazz since I know he has a lot to share. And again, Shabazz, we really appreciate you for not only taking the time today, but for sharing your successes, and your insights and transparency hasn't been nothing but valuable. So thank you again and welcome. And for those of you on, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll do the best that we can to answer them at the end of the webinar during Q&A. And if we don't have time, then we can follow up after the webinar as well. Thanks again. And Shabazz, it is all yours.
Cool, man. Thanks for the introduction there. Yeah, so I'm Shabazz, CEO of Venture Beyond. We're a growth marketing agency based in the UK. Yeah, first of all, crazy to see the number of countries. I asked the question what countries is everyone from? And there's so many countries attending today, which I found pretty fascinating because usually it's a heavy US audience. Yeah, so we're a growth marketing agency. We run paid social advertising campaigns. We do creative production, we do CRO, we do the media buying. We kind of do end to end in terms of scaling accounts. And yeah, RevealBot has been literally fundamental to what we do. And again, this is not a massive plug to get an affiliate commission, and I would love the affiliate commission, but that's not it. It's at the center of what we do in terms of our media buying. We tried to replicate our own tool and code it. In the end, we gave up because we're actually, this just crushes it. We have rules set up that just scale and pause 24 hours a day. So when we're getting winning campaigns, whilst we're sleeping, we're getting ad dollars being spent and slowed down, and the kind of the deeply nested logic that we have built into our rule system, we could not do without RevealBot. So yeah, just massive plug to you guys for building such an awesome software. And that's why I've been a customer for 3 years, and we've spent many millions of ad spend through RevealBot. And I don't think it would have been possible without access to the tool. So yeah, I guess onto the topic. So ChatGPT, massive topic at the moment. The main thing I'm hearing from everyone the last few days is, it keeps going down. And that to me is a sign that everyone's been using it and loves it and is just struggling with it, keep going down, right? And even in the team here, I keep hearing, keeps going down, which is a signal to me that people are using it. So really, I guess today's presentation, I'll load up the deck in a second, is really just it started from, for me, a thought process over Christmas. So I was sat at home having my Christmas dinner and had all my family around me. And I found that actually I spent probably more time talking to AI over Christmas than I did my family. With my family, I was literally there just talking and asking it all kinds of wacky questions. And it got my brain going and ticking. And then I thought, how can we apply this to advertising? How can we actually use this to get ad account scaling? And what we've done is, and what I'm going to present is a bunch of prompts and things that you can literally use in action straight away, which we use. We've already started to use these things that you can use to take away and just start doing it. And again, like Thomas said, open book, like, if you guys want to know anything about how we do things or want to ask any questions, if I can't get to it in the comments, because we've got a lot of attendees today, I'll give my contact information at the end. And if you want to just send anything through, it's just, I'm keen to kind of open up the conversation on AI, ChatGPT, advertising. So into the presentation, I've got Jem here as well, who's one of my business partners. How's it going, everyone? So he is our head of operations here, and he's just going to nudge me on the shoulder if we've got any questions that he feels like would be relevant to the topics we're discussing. So hopefully this works. I'm going to share my screen. Dum, 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 dum. Right, can everyone see my screen? Thomas, give me a heads up. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we can. Yep.
Sounds good. Cool. So creative strategy and ChatGPT. A bit about us.
Want to kick it into slideshow mode? Just
oh yeah,
expand
sorry.
your screen. No worries.
My bad. There we go. Is that okay? Sweet.
Perfect.
So who's Venture Beyond? I think Thomas mentioned a few of these things. We manage budgets 100K plus a day for single brands. We've scaled multiple brands from 7 to 8 figures, and we're on track with one brand to almost hit 9 figures, I think, this year. We're UK based. We're in the office. We all talk to each other. I've got my team in the room here listening in, which is super cool. That gives us a lot of deep collaboration. And part of the reason why we've been able to unlock ChatGPT is just the amount of conversation we've had. Like, I've got a whiteboard literally there with the drawings and scraps of the initial start of the process, which I'm gonna share with you today. Is literally just there. What do we do? So we do growth and we do creative. So growth is media buying, conversion rate optimization, and we do heavy data work in terms of our media buying as well. And that all links in, by the way, to RevealBot. So our data work that we do in the background feeds the rules that go into RevealBot that then scale and pause our campaigns 24/7. Creative. So we do full video production. We've got a studio in-house, which is like 15 meters from me over there. We work with content creators. We've got a network of over 100 content creators we regularly work with, and then we post-produce. So we make literally end-to-end ads and we scale them. So just a few examples of some of the ads we've done on the screen, just as a reference point. So screenshot or it didn't happen, right? So this is one single brand that, if you look at the date range, this is kind of over the course of January. We spent $4 million for them and according to Facebook, of course, the number is actually higher when you look off Facebook, but 6.3 million in sales in January. I'll say as well, like, this wouldn't have been possible without RevealBot. Again, not looking for the affiliate commission, but you can send me free money. I literally don't mind. But yeah, so that's one account that we've scaled. Another one, in the wise words of DJ Khaled, is another one here that kind of spent in the similar time period. An ad account that spent 2.4 million in a month. Another one that spent 1.4 million in a month. And then we've got one of our smaller clients or smaller ad accounts that spent around about 200K a month, in the month of January. So digging into it, so just to kind of, I'm going to try and break down like how we're using ChatGPT to get to some of these results, right? One key thing I want to really get across is, like, essentially, the more you test, the more winners you get, the more winning creatives you get, the more winning ads you get, and the more revenue you get. It's literally just almost as simple as that, right? So we did this bit of analysis of one of the brands we work with. For this particular brand, I thought I'd bring this out as a reference point, because I think it's quite important to kind of draw the point home. For this particular brand, we reached 2.2 million ad spend by December, and we were testing 170 creatives per week. So you can see on this slide deck on the right-hand side, that's the volume of creatives we were doing pretty much month on month, right? So we started off at 250, kind of peaked more towards like 750, 800 towards the end of the year. So to produce this amount of creative is challenging, not only from like an ideation point of view, but also just from like a complete workflow point of view. And we soon started to realize that, like, there's a problem. So, and I'm going to address how we resolve that with ChatGPT in a second. But The big problem was essentially it's hard to produce this much creative. And referencing back to that particular, or this is another brand actually that spent the one that spent 4 million in January. In total over 2022, by the end of 2022 we had 35,000 raw assets in video and image form. We launched 5,800 ads, mostly through RevealBot, by the way, as well, another plug. And we split that into new concepts and variations, so like kind of half, roughly speaking. That's a lot of ads, but that's what you need to actually drive that level of ad spend per month. You know, there's no way we would have spent 4 million in January unless we'd been testing and testing throughout 2022. It's just a good kind of like case in point here. So at the center of everything that's happening, like the creative strategist is a role that we have in the company. And whether or not you guys who are listening and watching, whether you have a creative strategist or not as a job title, the truth is somebody's doing it, whether it's your media buyer or if it's your growth strategist or if it's your head of marketing or you're a freelancer and you're doing it on your own or you're in your bedroom running a brand, like you are a creative strategist at some point. And we realized that it's stressful because there's just so much to do. And this image here was actually generated by DALL-E. So I put in this prompt here: stressed out Facebook advertiser with over 10 people trying to speak to them at the same time. Yeah, I mean, this is a pain point that we had inside the agency. So we realized because the creative strategist is at the center of everything that was going on, there was becoming a bottleneck to us getting things produced at scale. And you can see here like all the different nodes or touch points that they have, like with a copywriter, CRO team, their manager, a media buyer giving them all the insights, editors who they're managing, you know, senior ones and junior ones. Junior ones need more specific briefs. Seniors a little bit less management. A production team, you know, to get the raw assets. Content creator team, you know, giving feedback on influencers and content creators, and then, you know, clients, right, keeping our clients happy. So we realized there was almost like no time left for our creative strategist to actually do creative strategy, like actually think and work on like, oh, this is a new concept, I should work on this concept, rather than spending all their time doing management of all these people kind of around them. So the problem kind of stemmed from there. We're like, okay, how can we use ChatGPT to solve this problem? And just in terms of how this looks at VB, this is actually a diagram we did off of one of our previous webinars we did with Thomas. So I'm a bit lazy. I stole this from the last one, but essentially our creative strategist sits inside the growth team, and they send briefs out to the post-production team, and they get assets back, which then go into the ad account through our media buyers, and then through an ETL back to our data team. We do some analytics, some custom stuff, some things that is evergreen analytics, and then it goes back into our growth team to then inform the growth strategists and creative strategists, media buyers, on exactly what to do next. And then production and content creators, the one who produce the raw assets that flows in, that the post-production team then works on. So that kind of gives you a flavor of like, this is the problem, this is within VB, it's all inside here, and it's like the central part of the hub that was causing a bottleneck. So that's the first initial problem. The second one is there's a lot of research that needs to be done. So we realized that like to come up with really good ad angles that really scale, you've got to be very consistent in your research. We actually create a template, which I'm going to share at the end. You guys can use this. This is kind of outside the scope of ChatGPT, but it does inform the strategy that we use for ChatGPT. We called it the Brand 101, which I can open up here for a second. So I'm going to drop the link at the end where you can access this, but we go into a lot of depth with like our client research. So within this particular document called the Brand 101, we give an overview of the products, we list all the features, and we list the benefits for the features and benefits for that particular product. We go through all the kind of fear, uncertainty, and doubt removal. So like all the different guarantees that you have, and like all the social proof elements, all the objections people might have to buying those products. So this is an empty template. We'll normally have this completely filled in. And before ChatGPT, our creative strategists would literally sit here for almost like a week, like researching this for every brand that we took on board. So as part of our client intake process, we'd literally sit for a week and just grind out the research, right? Go through all the products. We'd go through our competitors, make a list, get the links to all their different ad libraries, look at how much traffic they're generating, scrape all their landing pages, find out what's driving, conversion for them. Is it the ad or is it the landing page? We would then do review mining. So we'd get like a list of all the reviews from all the different places. We'd get it from like Amazon, Trustpilot, the website, Google, Facebook. And then we'd literally do a manual process, and it was an absolute pain. Before ChatGPT, we'd go through this and we'd upload all of our reviews. And for some brands, there might be like thousands of reviews, right? And we'd do a one by one, just work out, is it positive? Is it negative? What is the kind of the main pain point that people are talking about, how many times are they talking about this, and we end up with a summary table, which I'm going to show in another screenshot later on in the deck. And then into more detail around about the customer avatars. So like who we're selling to, who are the different types of people we're selling to, and then from that, what angles we generate. In a nutshell, it was a lot of research, and this was another part of the problem. Like we couldn't keep on top of doing all this research when we were taking on brands. And again, the Creative Strategist was responsible for this. What we realized is that ChatGPT is one of the best researchers in the world. Like it's better than any human being could possibly be. It's just fast, right? So we had to kind of create prompts in a way which would allow us to gather the same information, gather and store the same information that we had in here, but inside a chat thread, right, on ChatGPT. So that was like the starting point of like the journey in December that we started. And then moving on to the next slide. So the solution. Some more DALL-E images. So to get this image, I put an angry cartoon Facebook advertiser looking very smug with himself, wearing a blue Facebook t-shirt, lifting a small cute AI robot out of a toolbox. Yeah, end up with these images. I like playing around with DALL-Es. It kind of amazes me what it comes up with sometimes. Yeah, I've been asked to speak louder. So if anyone can't hear me, just tell me. I'm going to keep trying to shout louder. But Thomas, can you hear okay? Is the sound okay on your side? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. So ChatGPT hasn't replaced our creative strategists, but it's becoming a major tool in their toolbox to produce creative at scale. You know, this is where we're encouraging our whole team now to start using this. And I'm going to give you the literal prompts that we're rolling out to our team that you guys can also use. What do we use it for? I mean, this is just I'm not going to read all this out, but it's a list of some of the stuff we use it for. There's actually many, many things that I personally use it for, and also the team use it for. But research, mining reviews, building avatars, building shot lists, making content creator briefs, ad copy, landing page copy. There's a ton of things that we're using it for at the moment. And I'm going to go into depth on maybe one or two of these things, throughout this deck and give you the prompts that we're using. Something visual to kind of like bring this all together. So how does this work? So we've got what we call like a recipe in my mind. What we've got inputs, and we get them together and we end up with a result. So we've been training ChatGPT with inputs on products, like what is the product all about, customer, who is the customer, information about the brand, and then any offers and promotions they're running. So those are all like the training inputs, we've called them. And then from there, we have wording guidelines. So this one here. So these are more things around like constraints on things we can and cannot say in advertising, including Facebook policies and that kind of thing. And then templates. So templates is like, what are we trying to produce? Is it a content creator brief? Is it a landing page? That kind of thing. So these are all the different elements that make up our recipe that give us like tasty results. I'm going to dig into a few of these in the slides, and I'm conscious of time, so I've got to try and whiz through some of them. We also, just to bring this all together. So what we started to realize is putting all this information in, you've got to put it in one thread in ChatGPT, because otherwise information gets lost between threads and then it doesn't have the accumulated learnings. So actually internally, to speed up the process, and this was actually born from a pain point from us, is like ChatGPT kept going down. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who are like having the pain of it going down and all of a sudden become dependent on it. So we're like, this is bad. We need to like build something that fixes the problem. And we realized that OpenAI is available to connect to build on top of in terms of building your own front end. So in the background, we've actually been building over the last kind of few weeks our own front end. Again, it's not something that we necessarily have been very clever with naming or anything, but we just called it ChatVB, just because internally we're like, oh, ChatVB, cool. So we built this tool which kind of allowed us to aggregate all the information on like the product, the avatar, the brand info, the promotion, our templates, the wording guidelines, literally all into like one place. So we didn't have to keep inputting it on every thread and getting lost, and then our team also forgetting where they put things right. And I'm going to show you this at the end, but for now I'm going to just give you all the prompts that you can use to make up all these different elements yourself. So there's two ways of doing this. One is working forwards and one is working backwards. So let me just explain. So working forwards means getting all these ingredients separately, putting them together, and then producing a result. So producing the copy at the end that you want to then use in your ads. The other way of working is giving it a desired outcome. So giving it a result that you're happy with, a tasty result. So an ad that's performed really well, and then getting all the information from the ad and turning it into a template that then you can edit and then put back into ChatGPT, and for it to then spit out a different result, which is of similar quality. That's the idea. there's kind of overall two ways that we're working with it, and I'm gonna try and break down working forwards, and then I think I'll start with working backwards, and then I'll move back to working forwards, and because working backwards is a bit simpler to explain. So working backwards, how does this work? So what I did is I got yeah, I'll explain where I'm getting the ads from, I guess, to start with. So where do we get our best ads from? Number one is we go into our own ad account. So here's like a screenshot from an ad account that we're running. We found that query request number 1483 variation 6 was working, and this one has spent lifetime value of $450K US dollars. So we're like, we know this is a winning ad. We should do something to replicate this ad, right? We know that TikTok Creative Center gives a lot of filterability. I hope that's a word. In terms of like highest CTR, highest view rate within a niche, and you just don't get that in Facebook ad library. So that's a really good way of finding top performing ads as well. The third way we do it is obviously ad library. We find a brand that we like one of our competitor brands, for example, and we'll go for the longest running ones. Generally speaking, those are the ones that have been running the longest, therefore they're most likely to be the ones that are also performers. And then finally, ad spy. So in ad spy, you can rank by engagement. So we can literally see, hey, this is an ad for Shapermint, a brand that we really know that are doing good job on their advertising. And look here, you got 140K comments on this one. So this has got to be like a winning ad, right? We never know for sure. Like the only ones we know for sure are the ones we're running, where we've got the ad account. But these other three definitely give us clues, and we're always referencing our competitor list to like try and find what they're up to. Anyway, using these clues, we've got ad examples that we have got a good indication that they could be working. So what do we do in terms of working backwards to get to the templates? So we get the best videos, we download them, we transcribe them. So you can use a software like v.io or something similar like that. Again, I wish I had lots of affiliate commission links, but because we use so much software, I should just keep plugging it in. But anyway, v.io is something that I just tested out. Here's a screenshot from it. There's a brand here, and we literally pasted the video in, and here's the literal transcription from from this particular video. Or if you've got an ad that you know has worked and you've made it yourself, well, just go to Premiere Pro, ask one of your video editors and say, hey, just export me a SRT file, or export me the audio and I'll convert it using Vue. So from there, you basically end up with let's say a script. So let's say just give an example of, let's say, a UGC ad where there's a script and there's a content creator talking about stuff, or there's a mashup of content creators talking about different things. So from here, you basically got a winning script. What you then do is you get that winning script. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'll show you that in a second. Final source that we've got for actually getting our winning ads. This is another hack that I think is pretty cool. So internally within our team at VB, Venture Beyond, we have an Instagram group where we're all in. And the team is always contributing like ads that they've seen that they thought were good. So they'll share ads in here, like kind of just casually when they're just chilling. And I'll put lots of ads in here as well, which I think are good inspiration. And also like one small hack is like when you're on an Instagram feed, and I don't know if this is like a feature that everybody can see because they're always testing features on different users, but when I see an ad, at least I can see the view count. So I know that if I know roughly what the CPMs are for an industry, if I know the view count, I can divide those things through and work out what the ad spend is. So I'll literally be able to see, oh, that's a 100K ad spend. It's got a couple million views or whatever. I'll know that's an ad that gets shared. We also then kind of, we're actually in the process of doing this now, is moving all of these ads that are shared here into a tool we recently started using. Again, I wish I had affiliate links for all these things. I missed an opportunity here. But Foreplay, we've been using that. And we store some of the ads in there, which we've been inspired by. And then from there, we can download them. So imagine now you've got all of these different sources for all your winning ads. You turn them into transcriptions using this. Then here's where the magic happens. So there's two things you can do. So method one, creating directly from example ads. So keep in mind, this is working backwards from winning examples. So here's the prompt. This is a winning audio script from a Facebook ad for a brand within whatever niche. Insert the transcription. Now, can you make me a winning ad script for my brand, for their product, whatever the product is? And here's literally an example that I did. And I literally put in this transcript, and I put in a skincare brand that we're working with, and it literally spat out this brief here. Are you tired of hiding behind makeup and filters to hide the signs of aging? Let me introduce you to product. This is a powerful blend of ingredients. Blah 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 blah. You get the idea. So it's spitting out scripts And this is, by the way, only like one version. There's like many, there's probably better ones that I haven't even shown here, but this is just one I had to hand. But you can see how quickly it's able to produce scripts that you can then give to content creators for them to work from, using a formula that you know works. And then talking about formulas, so method 2 is like how to turn this into a formula, like creating your own template essentially. So you insert the winning script transcript, and you put in a prompt that says, analyze the text above for the style, voice, and tone. Using neuro-linguistic programming, create a prompt to write a new script in the same style, voice, and tone. And it literally gave me the recipe or the template for making that same ad again. So introducing product name, the miracle solution for problem, say goodbye to negative aspect of the problem, and hello to desired result. With this breakthrough product feature, our product uses unique ingredient, blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. So all of a sudden, you've literally got a framework for making ads from stuff that you know is already winning. Like we know these are winners. That's working backwards. So just to kind of recap, that's like literally going from the result back through to the template. Hope this is making sense so far. Like I am always talking, I feel like I've got so much to pack in within the next like 15 minutes. I feel like I'm not going to get it all in. So apologies if I'm rushing through. Working forwards. So what is this? It's essentially getting all the different elements rather than starting with the result and trying to go back to a template and then editing the template. This instead is like putting all the different elements in, so that all the different ingredients in initially, and then producing the result. So we're now training ChatGPT on different elements. So the avatar, some information on the brand, product, promotion, that kind of thing. What I kind of realized after going through a lot of testing with ChatGPT is that you should always start with a custom avatar. And like traditionally in advertising, like I always felt like the avatar was a Marmite topic. Some people are like, oh, that's a waste of time. Media buyers and data people would always be like, what the hell is a custom avatar? Like, why are you showing me this picture of a random person and giving it a random job title and description and salary? It literally makes no sense, which I kind of understood. I was a bit like, couldn't really 100% disagree. But when it comes to ChatGPT, it's different because in essence, what you're doing is it doesn't really matter what the avatar is. In the background, you're using that as a seed to then create all the different landing pages, ad copies, scripts. So you almost don't even need to know what those avatars are. It's just a way of like it being a seed for a ChatGPT to understand who you're selling to. And the difference is for me to write 3 custom avatars might take me a day in detail. If I sat there all day and just did it in depth, ChatGPT can write like 100 avatars in like 2 minutes. It's a completely different ball game. And then from there, you can make lots of ads. Why is it important that the avatar is the actual seed for me? Is because the more avatars you have, I've written it at the bottom here, the more targeted your creatives can be. You can produce creatives that are more targeted towards specific avatars, which means that when the ad is served to people, there's a higher level of intent for everyone that receives the ad. Therefore, you've got higher click-through rate, therefore more revenue, right? And we all know this, like media buying is all moving towards like being liquid, and we're just trying to trust the algorithm to do its thing and not necessarily subset down to interest and demos and everything like that. Everyone knows this now. So how are we doing our targeting through our creative? So if we show a creator, a content creator who's like older or younger or different pain points, it will reach different people. Different people will resonate with different messages. So this whole system is enabling us to like produce a lot of different types of content for different avatars. So yeah, starting with the avatar. So how do I define the avatar? I'm going one step back here now to stage of awareness. And anyone who's like been through Eugene Schwartz's book, Breakthrough Advertising, might recognize the phrase stage of awareness. But this is basically just like for people who haven't, it's how aware are people of the product and the problem? So like, do they know what the problem is that they're facing? Like, do they know that they need an anti-aging product? Or do they know that a certain product solves that problem? So do they know that, if I use hyaluronic acid, will that solve my aging problem? Or are they completely unaware? And there's a whole scale of people from who don't even know they need a product through to I know exactly what product I need. I'm just now choosing between different brands. And that's where it started from in terms of the avatars. So for each different avatar, and I'll give you the prompts and what I'm using in ChatGPT in a second to like build up these avatars. You start with a stage of awareness, you get to the avatar. From there, you have the pain points and desires for each avatar based on the stage of awareness, because keep in mind that if you know about a problem or you don't know about a problem, your pain points are going to be different. You may not even know that you have a pain point if you don't know about the problem. So these things lead to the messaging, and that leads to winning ads, right? And that's the kind of formula we're using to scale accounts to like millions of dollars of ad spend per month. So yeah, just as an example, so like different stages of awareness and then the customer avatar. So like we've got here Gabriella, who's problem aware, or Michael, who's solution aware. So here's a prompt. You guys can just go and use it. Tell me what you guys think, if it works for you. Give me 10 customer avatars for the brand, name of brand. Create one avatar for each stage of awareness, as described in breakthrough advertising. It's amazing that ChatGPT can read a book in like 5 seconds. The brand's website is its price positioning. Is it a mid price point or high price point luxury brand? It's in this particular niche, and it focuses on selling these kind of products. And here's the unique selling points. Make sure each avatar is at least 300 to 200 words. So this is the exact one that we've been using. We're still fine tuning it, but this is what we've been using so far. To optimize this a bit further, so I kind of said, what I noticed with ChatGPT, sometimes it's inconsistent in like the format of the result, and there's some randomness to it, right? So in order to kind of like standardize a result, I've kind of put this in here. So put the avatar for the name. So this is if you have a second prompt underneath it, or you can just say, hey, make sure that this avatar is in this format. You give this format, but exactly like this, and then it will spit out for you exactly how you want it. And I'll show you in a second exactly how it looks in the result. This is just a fun one that on the side, like create an image generation prompt for DALL-E 2 to create an image of the avatar, which I'm going to show you in a second. So bringing this all together, so finding the avatar that we're selling to is here, right? This is the result of it. This is it. What's scary for me is like how this is Karen, who's a retired teacher. She's over 65. She enjoys trying new products. She prioritizes all natural products. She was got a relaxed lifestyle. She has concerns about harsh chemicals on skincare, lacks confidence in trying a new skincare brand. So you know exactly what messaging to do to handle those objections. This is sales end of the day, right? If someone's got an issue with lack of confidence in trying new skincare products, you've just got to give them confidence that like, this is not going to cause breakouts, or like this has been tested on like thousands of people and everyone's okay with it. And there's all kinds of things you could use to kind of like handle those different objections. But by understanding this about the avatar, you can come up with different parts of your messaging. What's really strange for me is that how this image is so close to the image I had in my mind of like what the avatar, one of the avatars was for this brand. And I think one of the really cool things is like her environment, like the kind of house I imagine her to be living in. There's a wider shot, you can't see it, but which I thought was pretty cool. Anyway, how do we turn this into ad spend, right? So essentially kind of using ChatGPT, and there are some constraints of using ChatGPT for this, but how I've done it is within each thread, start your thread as an avatar. So like essentially you define your avatar in the thread first. So I've got here an example of an avatar for Karen, Samantha, Haley, right? And it's got all the information about them separately. From there, I'm then introducing additional information into each one of those threads. So just to bring it back to here a second. So in each thread, I'm introducing the avatar first, and then in the same thread, I have to paste this information, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then I get the result. That's kind of the overall like direction of travel. Something to think about, an avatar is a set of stories. So an avatar is not a set of variables like it kind of maybe used to be, like age, gender, salary. So ChatGPT is really good at coming up with stories about people's life. And I think this is really important when you're making first-person content. And what do I mean by first-person content? It's when a content creator speaks in the first person. I tried this product when I went here and I did this, and like this was my life situation, and I went to the laundry and I met my friend, and then I bumped into this product and I thought it was amazing. So like what ChatGPT is good at is making stories about particular avatars and real life situations. So essentially it stops the scripts being salesy and it makes them more like centered around stories of their life. And I think that's one thing that ChatGPT does like amazingly. So yeah, bringing in to define the avatar, next step is like the brand info. There's so many elements of this, but I'm only going to cover a couple of them. So compared to research, so this is a really cool prompt. Create a table of 10 brands that can be copied into a sheet containing the following: the website, link to the ad library, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, a list of unique selling points, delimited by commas. Bang, you've got a table. There's literally what we used to do in that document that I showed you previously, the brand 101, but now it's done in seconds. Yeah, back to that brand 101. Remember I mentioned about the reviews. So the old way you used to do is upload Google Sheets, upload to this sheet, do a manual sentiment analysis, like one at a time, bring out the main topics, bring out the main pain points. It was like literally hundreds of hours of work to kind of consolidate that I mean, this one we did for a brand where it's like, okay, we found that 824 reviews talked about the skin texture, and we started making ads about skin texture, and it actually helped our performance. 460 brands reviews are talking about moisturizing. So all of this has gone into our like messaging within our ads. But now it can be done through automation and AI. I've got the template for this, so you guys can have it at the end anyway. So you can either do it in ChatGPT or you can do it in this sheet. Using the list of reviews below, please give me top 10 topics of the reviews, top 10 pain points, and top 10 reviews that are under 15 words that could be quoted exactly for use in a Facebook ad. Because we know like one winning concept is like when you get something about the product, like a video or a picture or whatever, and underneath it you put a caption that just is the review, like somebody like talking about the product in the first person with the 5 stars next to it. And using number 3, you can literally get hundreds of those like very, very quickly. Here's just an example. You know, these are the outputs, and we'll share this deck afterwards. And if you want to go through this in more depth, they can. Cool. So we talked about customer avatar, brand info. Product is kind of self-explanatory. I won't go into that one. Promotion I'll touch on at the end. Wording guidelines. So what makes up our wording guidelines? We were doing this manually before. So we had 3 things that kind of made it up in total. One is compliance. Second is tone of voice for the brand. Third is copywriting techniques. So I'm going to go into each one of these now separately. So compliance. Why is it important? We need to avoid false advertising to not get sued. When you start running, you know, a brand that's doing 10 mil plus, 20, 30, 50, 100 mil, like that becomes a big problem. You get ambulance chasers, people who are coming after you for making false claims, and you've got too much time on their hands and just want to attack you for something. So you want to avoid false advertising claims. You want to minimize the number of rejected ads, and you don't want to hurt your brand image. So how can we address those things in terms of compliance? Here's the prompt. Here are advertising claims we cannot legally make. Insert claims. Facebook advertising policies. ChatGPT knows Facebook advertising policies, but just keep in mind that the data is a bit old. So if they do get updated, just caveat, don't trust them. There's a character limit on what you can paste into ChatGPT, which is another one of the pain points around why we ended up making ChatVB, because to paste in the policies, it's like over the character limit on ChatGPT, so it just can't be used. This is to kind of avoid rejected ads, making sure we're kind of in line with the policies. Here are the phrases we do not want to say as a brand. Here are words we do not want to say as a brand. List of phrases, list of words. Again, this is all from input from our clients, because they're always saying, hey, do say this, don't say this. And we ended up creating a standard doc for ourselves internally. And now we're engineering towards ChatGPT and ChatVB doing it for us. Tone of voice. So back here again. So compliance, tone of voice, copywriting technique. So tone of voice, you can set a brand tone of voice. You can fine tune it for a specific avatar as well. You can talk in the first person or the third person. This is a really cool one. Add more name of emotion. Add more emotion. So if you say, talk about how you felt lonely when you were about to say you're selling a dating app, you can talk about the emotion of feeling lonely, and you can put that in there. You can say, hey, add more loneliness to the emotion of the pain point. And then that has a massive impact in actually how good it is at direct response selling. Just try it. That one's a really good one. This is a crazy one. I think you can try that if you want. Give the most ironic, satirical advice you can about using anti-aging serums. If you guys do anything after, just copy that in. The results are kind of quite funny. I wouldn't run that as an ad, but like it gives you some inspiration on things you can do. I haven't got the exact prompts here because it's a whole different set of prompts, and I'm going to need to run to time. So yeah, compliance, tone of voice, copywriting technique. These are some standard things. So like use active voice, persuasive language, ask questions to transition between paragraphs, back up main points with evidence, speak directly to the reader, US grammar and spelling. Readability level should be for an 8th grader. So when you combine these things together, we get less kind of feedback from our clients saying, hey, it doesn't quite hit the mark in terms of copy or direction. So we've talked about these, talked about wording guidelines. How do we now get to this result? So templates. So I'm only going to have time to go into one of the templates. Keep in mind that we've got many, but this is one that we literally, it's active and in use, that you can copy and paste this and it works. So content creators. So we know that content from content creators works. Like honestly, like I'd be happy to run 70-80% all of our content from our content creator team. So what we did is we realized that writing briefs for content creators was quite time consuming. And it came to my attention because we had one content creator where she was waiting for a brief for a couple of weeks. And I was like, hang on a second, like it doesn't take too long to write a brief in ChatGPT. Like, why is this taking so long? And it was because we were doing it manually. This was like a month or so ago. So I was like, okay, how do I make a prompt that can just make these content creator briefs? The reason why it's so powerful with content creator briefs is it's back to a principle, what I feel about AI. So I think when using AI, you've got to be like 80% AI, 20% human. So you've got to still have that human check, that human element where you get what AI has produced and you sense check it and you tweak it and fine tune it. Now, when we're doing landing page copy, we do that internally. So maybe 80% is done by ChatGPT and that 20% final touch is done by a copywriter. But the key thing here is that when you're using a content creator who's external from our team, they're adding that 20% human value on top of it. So even if the script is not perfect, the content creator can still add their human element to it and it still feels like a human being has done it. We've done the briefing using AI, but the content creator has added their human element without us having to necessarily get involved too much in it. So, and then in terms of the prompt, so I hope that made sense, but the prompt itself, so write me a brief that can be used for a content creator to make a video that can be used in a Facebook ad. You can also define the number of seconds you want it to be and that kind of thing. Excuse me. So please break it down into B-rolls, so a list of shots, B-roll shots, script lines, a list of 10 scripts written in the first person, including the emotions in square brackets within the script, and then separate to that hook shots. So a list of attention-grabbing hook shots, hook scripts, a list of attention-grabbing scripts we can use for the hooks, right? And I'll show you the result of what that produces in a second. An alternate for number 2, so we noticed that like in some cases we've got a certain content creators are really good at working off scripts. So you give them literally a list of things to say and they spit out and it's amazing. Others, because they've got a area of expertise or knowledge, you just give them general talking points or an angle and you let them kind of run with it. So option 2 here, I've had some success of writing briefs where we've swapped that out for a different one. So give a list of 5 areas for discussion for someone to say in the first person. So that's a good way of like just creating a slightly different brief. Some other optional prompts. So environment, give some suggestions for what environment the content creator could be in that makes sense with the script. Outfit, give some suggestions on what outfit the content creator could be wearing. And another one here, I forgot to put this on another line. Give some requirements to our talent scout for the type of content creator that would work well for these scripts and appeal to the target audience for the brand. Keep in mind, if you're doing this in the thread of the customer avatar, you're then getting this defined. Like your content creator should end up with a description that's close to your avatar. Bring this all together. So like, this is just an example. Again, I won't read it out, but literally you have a brief that you can copy and paste and put straight into a doc and send to your content creator. Yeah, that's the end output. And we're now using this to put into a brief, which would have taken a day to write. And now it's like seconds. It means we can get a much higher volume of content back from content creators because we're able to get out more briefs very quickly. And create more variability, because often what we were doing in the past is we were getting one brief because it takes time to write it. Our creative strategists taking time to write that, and we're rolling it out to maybe 2 or 3 content creators, all saying the same thing. With this, it's like you can keep a completely unique set of briefs. So it's been able to, for using this, we're able to then increase the number of briefs that we're doing. And then the last step is the promotion, so the final ingredient. So here are the list of the current promotion. And include like, if you've got like a buy one get one free, a bundle, like a free shipping over a certain amount, just include that information within there as well. This one you've got to be a bit careful with. So I put here as a note, if it's a first person content creator script, you've got to guide it specifically to be not too salesy. So you've just got to be like, oh, hey, I went online and they've got this cool offer running right now, and I decided that I should just buy it. So there's got to be something a bit more guided. So I feel like with that one, you've got to give a bit more specifics or add a bit of a human touch to it. So that's kind of like all the inputs that generates those briefs that basically then go out to our content creators or whoever it is that's doing the landing page copy, content creator, ad copy, landing pages, content creator briefs that then comes back in that we then put into the ad account that's then helping us to launch 100 plus ads a week for a brand. Yeah, I feel like we've gone through a lot. I've only got 10 minutes left, so I've got to get through the last bit pretty quickly. So what are we doing right now? We're optimizing. So now that we've built like a general framework for working, we're actually split testing. So in the same way we do in media buying, we're constantly split testing things. I'm trying to kind of work on like what produced the best results. So I'm getting like one avatar using 2 different templates and seeing what the different results are. I'm changing the avatar using the same template, looking at the results. I'm changing the avatar to be shorter and longer, adding the same template, looking at the results. So I'm going through a process of just like doing some multivariate testing to work out, what are the winning prompts that are enabling the best results. And this is now something that actively that we're working on within the agency. So the whole theory here is like keep fine tuning. We're now fine tuning. We're getting to winning prompts, and that's driving winning ads. So bringing it all together. So I mentioned ChatVB as well, and this is all completely possible inside ChatGPT. You can 100% do this. But just keep in mind that like there's a lot of elements here, so you've got to stay organized in like how you do it in terms of keeping everything in one thread. Building ChatVB was a result of a pain point of ChatGPT kept going down. I know a lot of people have been suffering with that. And I realized like accumulated knowledge was getting lost on things being across different threads, or like us fine tuning something over here and then forgetting to fine tune it over there. We wanted to get like consistent with first time answers. So we decided to just build something internally over the last few weeks. And I wanted to just showcase that to you guys because I thought it'd be pretty cool to just get some input, get some feedback. We won't have time for it, I guess, now because we've only got 10 minutes left, and I've tried to cram in as much value as I can. But like, I'd love to just get you guys feedback on it. So I'm gonna afterwards send a link of how you can get access to it. And if anyone wants to play around with it, test it, give me feedback as well. That'd be like absolutely amazing. But again, just to reiterate, you can do all of this inside ChatGPT. It's just you have to kind of like stay organized. What we did is actually build this all into like an interface. So let me just quickly show you that as well. So I'll stop screen share. I'm gonna get my systems guy who's sat on the right of me just to show you that. So give me a second. Hopefully you can still see the screen in a moment. Let's stop the share. Cool. Yeah, so this is kind of like the end product, what we're doing. So we start with a brand overview. We plugged in all that brand information, so we never had to keep inputting it into every single thread. Information about competitors, any brand advocacy that they have, any compliance issues, any wording guidelines, any reviews, all those different elements I mentioned in the recipe. So those are all kind of listed here. This is very much an MVP, so just keep that in mind. Products. So we then upload our products, and you'll notice that we're building a function to actually import things directly from Shopify, so we can rank by our top sellers and start focusing on those first. We can manually upload products for people who are not on Shopify as well. And then the idea is we're building avatars that are specific for products, because we notice that each single product has got different pain points, right? And then if you just go back to the previous screen, you'll see that you see the avatars are listed against the products in that avatar column there. And then if you click into the avatars, each one of these is then built out into how I mentioned it in ChatGPT. So name, gender, job, salary. And if you click into it, you've then got more of the things that I mentioned in that slide previously. So facts about their life, pain points, desires, all the things that kind of like generate all those different angles. Again, this is literally, you can get this in ChatGPT if you put those prompts in that I mentioned earlier on in the deck. And then if you click on templates, so again, just these are the kind of things that we're actually using. These are the things we're using ChatGPT and OpenAI to actually produce. So I mentioned about like briefs for content creators, briefs for our production team, which I didn't mention, landing page copy for advertorial, listicle, sales pages, and then an ad copy itself. And then like how are we bringing this all together? Effectively, you choose your product, you choose your avatar, and you choose your template, and it brings it all together in like a recipe, and bang, you've got your result. So products, you can select a product, avatar, you can select who the avatar is, what do you want, content creator brief, generate the content, and bang. There you go. That's exactly the same, you can copy and paste this straight into a brief, download it as a PDF, send it to your content creators. You can just reiterate, you can do all of this stuff inside ChatGPT, but like you've got to be organized in how you keep it inside singular threads. And you've got to, if you update something in one thread, you've got to then have like a generic template that you keep in a doc that you copy and paste into that thread to make sure everyone is using it consistently. So that's just a little flavor of ChatVB. And then, yeah, I hope that's been valuable. I've got 8 minutes left to go, so maybe I can take a couple of questions. But just before I do, so if anyone wants, like, again, just like a bit of can we stop screen sharing over here? Cool. So do I need to screen share over here? Go back to the deck a second. Like, I guess a couple of things just to kind of like round off before questions. So if people want to like play around with that tool and like have a go at it, like we're just building it and testing it. Honestly, we built it for ourselves. We didn't really build it for anybody else, but we've had really good feedback from some of our friends in e-commerce, and they've been playing around with it. And we'd love to get people's feedback on it as well. If you guys think that'd be cool or something you could get involved with, we're all for like alpha testers and people playing around with it and poking it. So just we'll circulate a link. I think Jem's about to drop the link in the comments, but also we're going to send it in the follow-up as well. You can find the link. Just fill in the form. It's a short form, and we'll get you involved, get you free access to it, and you can have a play around with it. And in terms of us as an agency, if you're a brand that's already at $1 million in revenue, you want to get to 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, just hit us up. There's a link there to my Snap link where we do free audits for people who are kind of already at 1 million revenue plus. You've got to be spending 100K a month in order to come on board with us. And on average, we take on 2 to 4 brands per quarter. We're a boutique firm. We don't take on 100 brands a year. It's literally 2 to 4 per quarter. We just can't deliver this level of service at that scale if we take on too many brands. So if anyone is interested, just click on that link there. We'll share it again afterwards, and then just reach out and you can get in touch with me. And then finally, before questions, if you want to get in touch with me, there's me on LinkedIn, there's me on Twitter, my name, you can find me. And then finally, we've got a link to WhatsApp. So we've got a company WhatsApp. So if you want to reach out to us, just chat to us, talk about ChatBB, talk about AI, talk about ChatGPT, tell me about the problems you're having, like inside ChatGPT, like any optimizations that you guys want to talk about. Like I'm watching this as well. So we've got a team looking at this shared WhatsApp, but like I'm also looking in there as well. So that's probably the quickest and most direct line of communication directly to me. I got that done in 55 minutes, man. I felt like there was so much content to put in there, Thomas. I don't know how I managed to. I'm out of breath.
Yeah, you went through that fast. Thank you for that. So we have a couple minutes left. Do you want to go through questions?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if we can get.
Do we have any questions that we could cover in a couple minutes? Because I know we want to try and keep it to the hour.
Let's see.
Oh, somebody mentioned about the character limit. I'll have to remember exactly. If you read the documentation on OpenAI website, I think it's my developer's telling me 4,000 credits, which I think is about 12,000 words. 16. Yeah. It also depends which algorithm you use, because there's DaVinci one algorithm and there's 3 other algorithms. So I think there's a cap depending on which algorithm. It's all documented on the OpenAI website, but it literally tells you what the character limit is depending on which algorithm you're using. ChatGPT by default uses DaVinci, so it's got a pretty decent character limit, but you can't copy paste the entire Facebook policies or long documents into it. I've been asked a question. Can you reshare the name of the plug you're using to automate the creative production from raw assets? What does that mean? Reshare the name of the plug. I'm not sure I understand the question. What was the prompt for the script template with NLP? We'll circulate the deck afterwards. You guys can have a look. What was the prompt for the script template? All the prompts are in there. You can have them all. I don't care. Like, WhatsApp me. Any prompts you guys want. Anything you want to discuss about prompt engineering, ChatGPT, ChatBB, just ping me. I'll send you all that afterwards. You promised a doc with the templates. Yeah, the doc with the templates. So that brand 101. If you go to, I'm no longer screen sharing, but if you go to snap.link/Shabazz, if you want to paste that in there, you can find all the templates in there. Any other questions that we've got? I'm literally just looking at things as they're coming in, but we've got quite a few people here today, so I don't think I'll be able to get through these all.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of questions about, hey, can you share the deck and can you share the recording? Yes, we will share the recording and the deck with the templates after the call here. If not by tomorrow, by early next week. We'll just get it ready to share with you all publicly. Man. So yeah.
So, Thomas, do you have any final questions as well, like about ChatGPT and stuff, and like? Just I'm super keen on this topic.
Yeah, I guess the one question that I have, I know there's a lot of questions in there as well, but what are some of the limitations of ChatGPT that you've experienced? And you've addressed it with ChatBB, which is super cool. And it's super cool that you guys are going to let people alpha test it. But what are some of the limitations that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. The word limit, definitely on pasting like Facebook advertising policies. keeping all information contained within one thread. And then when you change a piece of information on, let's say, the brand information or more reviews, you have to then copy paste that back into this. You have to recreate the whole thread from scratch, and it becomes an organizational mess. So that's definitely another thing. I'd say, like, when you ask it, it can be sometimes a bit salesy when you ask it to use direct response copywriting techniques and things like that. So you've got to be a bit careful about the kind of prompts you put in. But again, just keep split testing your prompts and trying different things out until you get to the right prompt. I could probably list 100, but like those are my top 3 or 4.
Right. Awesome. And then let's see if we can answer any other questions real quick. Shem, do you have any questions lined up? Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the question about how you can use ChatGPT to do advertising analysis. So I guess like data analysis, right? You can paste data into it and ask it to like do analysis for you, right? Basically formulas. That's one way. The end goal for like ChatVB eventually is we're going to connect it to Facebook's API, and we're going to download the top ads, and from there we're going to extract the MP4 files, and from that we'll get transcripts, from that we'll get briefs, and it'll automatically go out to content creators. So like in terms of like data, like we will use the Facebook's API to tell ChatVB which brief to send out to which content creator, if that makes sense. So you can kind of use it because Facebook API has all the data and you can connect it to software. That's how we're going to be using it. In terms of data analysis, yeah, I think it's quite a broad question. It's hard to answer unless you've got a specific data analysis. Any other questions, Jem, before we wrap up?
Someone asked how much does ChatGPT cost?
We're not selling it at the moment, but like maybe we'll commercialize it if people are super keen on it. They love it as much as we literally built it to use ourselves because we were like, ChatGPT is good, but not suitable for our use case, you know. And you know, to produce 150 ads a week for a brand is not easy. So like we built it for ourselves, and then like some people have been interested, so we thought, okay, maybe at some point we might commercialize it. It's not like in the very immediate term, but we're very happy for people to come and test for free. I don't mind at all.
Amazing.
Cool.
Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope that was valuable. It was for me, for sure. And we will absolutely send out the deck and the recording afterwards. So have a great day, rest of your week and weekend. And hopefully we will be back in the near future.
Cool, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shabazz. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
You too, man. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.
See you later. Bye. Bye-bye.